Hello, everybody.
We'll wait a few minutes for people to catch up to us.
So right now I'm saying hello to nobody.
I know, hello, hello. But when this replays, it needs to be a little bit entertaining and not
Yes,
just us looking at the camera.
and chatting.
Exactly.
We've got somebody. Hello, viewers.
Here's number one. It's time for live.
We
Sorry, I won't sing, sorry.
we just got finished playing a board game with each other this afternoon. So we're still kind of in the energies of that, and ooh,
The Masters of the Light. It was a fun game.
check it out.
Got it from
Be
Be
True
True
to
to
You
You.
in New Hamburg. So shout out to Tammy Jo Heemstra. She has them available at her store.
Yes. Drop into New Hamburg and have a look. That would be. It was a fun. It was fun. It was definitely unlike anything I played before. Sometimes I was getting a little annoyed with the universe for what it was making me face, but it was a good game.
Yes.
I
Yes.
definitely play it again.
All right, so we have a couple people on here. So for those who showed up on time, I guess let's start for you guys and then
Everybody else can catch up.
that's right. As always, if you have any questions or comments that you want to add in, feel free to pop them on the comments below and we'll do our best to ask or to answer the questions that you guys are having.
Exactly, exactly. So this live, we decided we wanted to talk about the faces of spirituality because I think it's really important for people to understand. Well, I mean, I think we were talking about the myths and the way people sometimes believe spirituality um, needs to be portrayed, and that's just we found that there's a lot of stuff that's really kind of like not so much.
Yeah. So when we talk about the faces of spirituality, I think for some of us, we start to identify ourselves or other people as either being spiritual or not spiritual based on the things that the person is either doing, how they're eating, the music that they listen to, the kinds of things they like to do for entertainment.
The way
Um,
they talk.
yes, JP Sears is awesome at kind of making fun of this whole idea of spirituality and how we all present ourselves to the world through
That
our
we're all love and
spirituality.
light and we never say fuck. I mean, yeah.
I never do. And that would be a lie.
So sometimes, we stretch it a little.
Yeah, and I think what it basically comes down to is as long as someone is on a spiritual path, which we all are, whether we recognize or not that we're on a spiritual path, because we're spiritual beings having a human experience. So for even those who go, I'm an atheist, or I'm against all spirituality, or I'm religious in this way or that way, that it's all still a spiritual path. It's all of us are just learning to connect with each other, learning to connect with ourselves, learning to let go of the past and to step forward into the future. Regardless if we're vegan, regardless if we're doing yoga, regardless if we've read the Bible or haven't read the Bible, or whatever the case might be, that everybody has their own spiritual path that they need to.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, it's really about how you are living in your truth. So, how relax, Catherine. I'll try to keep talking while
Thank you.
Catherine regains her composure there.
I'm having a giggle moment.
Sometimes those just take over.
Yeah.
I think it's really important because sometimes we think that if we have any kind of negative emotion, or if you know, if you're driving down the road and somebody cuts you off, it's going to make you angry in that moment. I think it's how long you stay in it, and move past things like that. That's more important um, in this whole process. Because there will be things that just piss you off, and we should get angry about stuff because there's all kinds of stuff goes on in this world that it should not be happening. And so if you can't have a passion about something being wrong, then how is that spiritual? right?
Yeah. I think a lot of that whole idea of spirituality and what those emotions are, it's not so much about suppressing what the emotions are, but actually acknowledging I'm having this emotion in this moment, because that's taking you to a deeper connection to yourself by just simply acknowledging the emotion that you have.
Exactly. Exactly. And I mean, another big one is the you can't be spiritual if you have ego, right? You got to let the ego go or you won't be spiritual. That,
It's not going to happen.
no.
Your ego is your experiences, it's the personality that comes out of what your experiences have been.
And I mean, the ego is your motivator, right? It's the one who tells you you can do something or can't do something, and then makes you challenge what it is you're attempting to create. I think people need to acknowledge that they have ego, and when you can, then you sort of separate it out, and you're able to, um, I think, have a better understanding of what your spirituality is, and not be stuck in some thought about what I need to be spiritual. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, it makes sense.
I sort of was talking in a circle there. Um, I think that it's sometimes we get hung up on the idea of what do I need to look like to be spiritual, and do I have to be this way every waking moment of every waking day, and do I have to have love and light for every individual, every living being? We were talking earlier about snakes. I don't mind snakes, but there's some people who
I'm afraid snakes are going to come up out of the toilet while I'm
ex-
using the bathroom.
exactly.
That's
She doesn't have a lot of love for snakes. That doesn't mean that that's a mark against her for her spirituality. It's just a reality of we have likes and dislikes in this world, and sometimes there will be moments where we don't like what's going on, and we can't be all love and light. And when we see injustice in the world, we need to be able to get angry about it, and I think that's being more true to who you are, and being in a place of your heart means you can have compassion and empathy and anger and all of the emotions. And I think that's something that really needs to be made clear to people about spirituality, right?
I would agree.
All right. I'm glad you agree. I mean, and something that I think that we need to talk about today during this spirituality discussion is also about when people are trying to choose what it is maybe they need to add into their life. And how do you go about finding a resource, um, or who do you trust, or where do you begin, right?
Yeah.
She's I've never seen Catherine not be so
I don't have a
willing
whole
to.
lot to say today. Um, yeah,
I mean, and
it's so individual to each person.
it
This is
really
the
is.
thing: is there's no right actual answer to your own path of spirituality for anybody. And if right now in this moment you're like, I can't have anything to do with crystals, and that's perfect for you. But someone else beside you might go, I absolutely need crystals to function.
Yeah.
And but that's perfectly okay too. Some people will go, the moon made me do it, and some people will go, I don't want to have any association with the moon. And so it's, to me, it's so individual that even us talking about it, I'm going,
Well, I
it's
think
so open.
Well, I think that's the whole point of this conversation, is to let people know that there is no defined
Exactly.
there's no defined path to get to where you feel is your spirituality and your purpose, or your journey, where your journey is meant to take you.
Yeah.
And I mean, even you know people say, oh, you need to have Reiki. Well, maybe you don't need to have Reiki. Maybe you just need to go soak in a tub. Or maybe you do need Reiki. I don't know. I mean, but if you've never had Reiki, you might want to explore it. I always recommend to people. I know some people who do energy work and they do different things, and I'll if somebody's asking for information, I'm glad to point them in the direction of people that I know who I've experienced these things with, but
Hi, Stu.
I'm not really one to tell people this is what you need to do. Although I did tell someone yesterday that I really thought they should consider grief counseling.
Yep.
Um, but it's totally up to them. I mean, it was just what was coming through for me that they really needed some support, and they weren't getting it from where they were at. Um, so now that I say that, I'm thinking, am I mindful enough about that when I'm in a situation where I'm, connected and doing a reading, and sometimes what I say isn't because of a thought I've had, but because of something that's coming through.
Being channeled, yeah.
So I have to be kind of a little more mindful of that, I think. Um, but I mean, do you get people asking you, what do I need?
But yeah, and even because I do energy work, people will say to me too, when should I come back for a Reiki? Like, do I need to have this in a week from now? Do I need to wait 3 weeks for my next Ohana treatment or whatever the case might be? And I always say to people, ask your body, because the reason that the person showed up in the first place was because something in them said, I need a Reiki treatment, or I need an Ohana generational healing, or whatever the case might
Or
be.
something just feels off.
Yeah, something feels off, so I need a session, whatever. And then when they come in and they say to me, when should I do this again? To me, it's always just ask your body, because your body knows when you need a massage, like you're going for a massage tomorrow.
I'm going for a massage
because your
tomorrow.
body's been saying to you all week, I need a massage.
Absolutely.
And so often we're handing our power over to people and asking them for permission for us to take care of ourselves or to listen to our body, when really we should just be connecting in with our body and going, what is it that you need right now? Do you need a Reiki treatment? Do you need a massage? Do you need more water? Do you need more coffee? Whatever the case might be. I don't need any more coffee today. My body is telling me that. So I think that's a really big important step in developing your relationship with your spirituality, is
Absolutely.
listening to what it is your body, your heart, your mind, your soul, all of it is showing you in any given moment, and what it is that it's asking from you.
And a really good way to listen is to meditate.
Yes.
And I just want to say, all you people that just went, I can't meditate, you need to stop that. Because I feel
But don't
like
listen to anybody else.
Hi,
Debbie.
I just wish that people would not immediately go to the I can't. And I always encourage people to say, I'm learning to meditate, as opposed to I can't meditate. I can't shut off my mind. You're choosing that, is my thought. But I try to encourage people to be a little more open. If they truly wanted to meditate and learn to meditate, you need to be open to it. And if you really think the meditation isn't for you, then just don't do it. But it's really good for you.
Because you can also journal, or you can go for a walk, or you can just sit and listen to your favorite music and just let your mind do whatever it is.
And this is the other thing. Like, meditation isn't sitting cross-legged in a state of Om. That's not meditation for me. Meditation is whatever you're doing that allows you to bring your mind and body into focus, and not be stuck on all the external stuff. Some people, that's going for a run, not me. Um, it's going out in nature. It's having a bath. It's reading a book. It's sitting listening to music. It can be as simple as that. And I think that we need to be aware that there isn't a written in stone um, definition of meditation for me. It's whatever works for you.
Yeah, sometimes when I've got a long distance to drive, I'll just turn the radio off and just drive in silence just to listen to what my thoughts are. Because sometimes I use distraction mechanisms in order to stop myself from actually having the thoughts or having the feelings or whatever that I'm really needing to look at. So in silence, that's where I seem to be able to start to connect the dots and stuff. So I call that my meditative driving practice.
I do that as well. I have the radio off now more than I ever used to. And it really is. It's about getting rid of all of the distraction.
Yeah.
Silence is a great place to sit. I do it often. Oh, see, now we're sitting in silence. Just like that. We're proving a point. Yeah. So, I mean, So there's all kinds of components to spirituality that people just need to, I just feel like I want to say, like, lighten up. We don't have to be so rigid about what it means. And it's not, I promise you, it is not all love and light. It can't be. Because I think part of the whole process of getting to a better understanding of who you are and what you want to accomplish can get pretty damn ugly some days. You know, we got to dig down and release a whole lot of stuff that we've been carrying for 100 years. And okay,
Yeah,
not
it's
you. I'm just old, but
no, no, but you're absolutely right because a lot of people, when they first open up to the idea of spirituality, and they're thinking, oh, this is going to be all love and light and unicorns and rainbows and rose quartz crystals or whatever the case might be. It's like this sounds like a lot of fun, and then you step into this idea of I'm going to become a more spiritual person, and you walk through the doors of hell and start to have to go through all of your life's experiences and release all of that pain that you haven't even accessed before, and have all of that kind of anger stuff that comes up, and really reflecting on all of these old experiences. And that's the doorway into spirituality, and it kind of sucks. Like it's not that fun at all. But then you have these really good enlightening moments where it's like, oh my god, this is perfect. And
right.
then it goes right back down into the shit, and then it comes back up and right back down and comes back up, and it's this cycle that continues to happen, and it's freaking perfect every single time. It's freaking perfect.
It is. And I think one of the beautiful things is where you start, and as you go through this process, sometimes all it becomes is that you recognize when you're in those moments.
Yeah.
Like when we talk about judgment, right? And like we shouldn't judge people because we don't know what they've been through, and we're not standing in their shoes and all that. And then I'll see somebody judging somebody else, and my first reaction is to want to say something about them judging someone else, and then I'm like, whoa, Janice, you're judging somebody for judging, so you just need to step back. And so it's tricky some days.
Well, and it's about that awareness of what your own shadow stuff is. Always thought that I was a very open-minded person until I made a New Year's resolution in 2008 to stop being as judgmental as what I realized I actually was. And it's been so interesting because even now still I can see an awareness that comes up in a judgment that I have. Um, and regardless as to what the situation is, even me looking at, say, a mom in the store who's struggling with a child, I might have a judgment that that mom needs me to smile at her, okay? Or that that child is out of control. Or there's so many different scenarios. And as soon as I'm putting the label onto it, I'm actually creating a judgment around what that situation is, rather than just allowing it to be as it is. So
Yes.
it's a huge awareness to have, oh, this is me in judgment, or this is me in fear, or this is me in sadness, or this is me in anger, or this is me reacting because something happened to me when I was 3 years old that I still haven't let go of. Like
Right?
it's this huge awareness and almost a detachment from self of what you've experienced to be able to witness yourself as you are
Right.
showing up in the world right now.
It's very true. It's very true. And it's really interesting when you get to that place because you are able to step back and go, all right, what's really going on here? And when you're able to stop yourself and reevaluate what's going on for you, I think that's a huge step.
Oh, absolutely.
And there's been a lot more of that in the last couple of years for me. So, hi Sonia, welcome back to the cold weather. I'm totally judging you for being down on the white beaches of Cuba while we were up here in the white snowstorms. Sorry. um, but welcome home. Glad you made it safe. Um, there's there's so much to learn, I think, and I think one of the important things to remember if you're preparing to, take a more spiritual path is that you need to always be open to learning because there's nobody who knows more than another. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, while you know more about tarot than I do, I probably know more about something else than you do, and we both have knowledge in a different level.
Absolutely.
So, I think it's really kind of key to sort of be open to listening to what other people have to say. You don't have
Yeah.
to agree with them. You don't have to take on their philosophy, but I think you need to be open to hear what they have to say, and then decide whether it sits for you or not. And um, sometimes it will, and sometimes it won't. And sometimes you just have to say, "Good for you," and off you go. and and, and that happens.
Yeah, there was a book that I read years ago. I don't even remember actually what the book was, but something that it said in it really resonated with me. And it said, um, the one who believes he has all of the knowledge is the one who has very little. The
Oh,
one who believes that he has much to learn is the one who has accessed the greatest wisdom. And
I
I
love
was
that.
like, yeah, because when you're in this place of thinking, I've got all of the answers, I know exactly what's going to happen, I know exactly what comes next, I know all of the stuff in the world. Think of yourself as a teenager and how much you thought you knew back then versus what you're knowing now
Oh,
as an adult in your life and realizing that there's still so much for
at
you to
15, you know
discover.
everything at 15. And when you're 30, you realize you knew nothing at
Yeah.
15,
Yeah.
even though you believed that you knew it all.
Yes. And so I believe I was even the same way when I first started out on my spiritual journey, or realizing that I was on a spiritual journey, was thinking, I know all of this because I've read, this book or I've read this book or whatever. And then it gets to this point where you start to realize, okay, so I knew that little tiny little bit, but there's still this whole other picture that's over here. And I've been on this journey for a freaking long time now and still just learning brand new stuff. Last week I learned something new and I was like, this is crazy. How did I not know this before? So it's something that you have to be open to learning either from each other or from books or from videos online or whatever the case might be, that you're always open to learning something new.
And how many times do we have that experience and we're like, what the hell was that? And then when we sit back and reflect on it, it's really like this major lesson
Hmm.
that teaches us what we're really meant to know. And some of those
Such
are
a
ugly.
pain, isn't it?
It really is. And some of them are really ugly. And and some of them feel really hard and harsh and unfair. And when you think that you like if you were searching for a house to live in and you thought you found the perfect one, and then somebody comes and scoops it out from underneath you, and you think the world is so unfair, that was my perfect house. And and then you might sit in that for a while, and then suddenly what really is ideal for you comes, and it's like, okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
We sometimes forget, and it's easy. I mean, we're human. We have human experiences. It's sometimes very easy to forget how the universe will only bring us what we need.
Yes.
I know, that damn universe. It thinks that it's in control of the timing in the house.
And that's the big thing for us too, is to recognize how very little control we actually have when it comes to us trying to create all of these things that we want to create. That the universe, what we were just saying earlier in the game, how sometimes we'll ask the universe for a cake. And then you go into the kitchen. This was a meme that showed up on my Facebook a couple of weeks ago. But you'll go into the kitchen and you'll have a bowl and a mixing thing, and you'll have eggs and a cake batter and oil and water, and you're looking at all of this in front of you and you're like, what the hell, universe, I asked for a bloody cake. And you walk out of the kitchen because you didn't get what you expected. Because sometimes the universe is like, you're going to have this piece and this piece and this piece and this piece, and once you've experienced all of this, this is when you're going to get your cake. But it can be so frustrating sometimes when you're trying to get that cake and you're just getting little pieces and stuff. It
Right?
can be so frustrating for people. And a lot of people will just get up and walk out of the kitchen instead of going, okay, so I've got all of these pieces. How can I create it to be a cake now?
The whole divine timing thing. Because we tend to we get a glimpse of something or an idea of something. We want it now, and we get excited about it, and we want it now. But maybe, like, in order for it to be what we need and sustaining, it needs to come later, because there's something else we need before. So maybe what was missing was a pan to cook the cake in or an oven. And so maybe we couldn't have made the cake yet. Just saying. Just saying. It's been an interesting learning process for me for sure, because there's so much that was never really part of a discussion growing up, and I'm in no way suggesting that it should have been. I mean, it just is. It just is
Yeah.
what it is, and so um, we um, we we get taught these lessons in sometimes ways that feel really harsh, and other times they're a bit easier to understand and see. So it's been a wild ride these last few years for me, for sure. And I've had moments where I'm like, I'm so done with this. I'm so done with this. I can't do this anymore. And then 5 minutes later, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
but you will have moments like that because there it's tough sometimes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's important that we recognize that it is tough sometimes. That again, it's not all love and light, that sometimes it's going through some hard stuff, and it's uncovering some deeper truths about yourself and taking off the masks and allowing yourself to be vulnerable and being just open with where it is that you're at, and trusting and trusting and trusting
Being
until
able
you're
to
like blue in the face trying to take that last breath of trust,
Yeah.
and then the universe provides. And it's
And then
tiring.
it gives you something to be afraid of. And now you got to push through the fear. And you got to step over it. And then it's like, oh, how bad do you want it? And then, and we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've told this story a lot, about how one day in meditation, I was encouraged to jump off of this cliff. And I would jump off the cliff and I would land on a cloud, and the cloud would bring me back up to the top of the cliff, and I would have this happen several times, and I'm like, I can't even jump off the cliff. Like, what is this? And then I have this long discussion with guides and other people in this meditation about how about self trust and trusting the universe and believe and truly believing that this is what you're meant to be doing, and truly believing that you will be supported. And I stood up and I stood at the edge of that cliff, and I could hear them chanting behind me, jump, 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 jump. And I had to come to a place where I was okay. I believe I'm ready to believe, and I jumped off of that cliff, and I flew in that meditation. I flew through trees and I just drifted. It was magnificent. Excuse me. And it was like a turning point for me in this journey. It really was. And when I came out of that meditation, I sobbed for probably half an hour. It was like life changing. That was a life changing moment for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love that. I love that meditation. I've never had one quite so deep yet. Again, but yeah. So, like, if anybody has any questions or something they're not sure of, like, please, like, just type them up, and we're gonna do our best to answer them. By the way, because if not, you're just gonna listen to us ramble for another 30 minutes. So there you go.
Yeah.
Because we can do that. Just saying. Just saying.
Okay. You're quite good at it.
I know.
Our throat chakras are not blocked.
No, not as a general rule. We think we've got the talking thing down pretty good. But I mean, we'd be happy to answer your questions, because then we know that we're giving you some information that you're asking for. We we struggled with the whole idea of ego early on. Well, I did anyways. I shouldn't say we. I know that there was discussions about ego and should we be having ego, and I remember somebody saying, "Oh, you can't be out the light and spiritual if you have ego, and you have to let the ego go." And that just
It's such bullshit.
it really is such bullshit. And anybody who claims that they have no ego, guess what? That's your ego. right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And hashtag truth or trigger. I am writing a book right now. I'm self promoting
That's
myself in
okay.
this moment. Um, the book that I'm writing is called Truth or Trigger, and it's about how to fall in love with your ego to connect you deeper with your soul. Because the whole idea of diminishing the ego completely is like disconnecting yourself from a huge piece of who you are. And so, what I've learned in working with my ego over the past couple of years, I call my ego Kevin, and Janice's is Stella.
Stella.
And when you develop a relationship with your ego and you give yourself this kind of access point to talk to this egoic part of yourself, you can actually create a more loving relationship with yourself because you're understanding where it is that you're functioning from in the first place. So, my Kevin, has feelings of abandonment and fear and being alone. And when I look at the experiences that Kevin went through to create this kind of persona that Kevin has, where the fear and the abandonment are there, I can hold a lot of compassion and love for Kevin because he experienced a lot of really shitty things. And he has a right to feel abandoned and he has a right to feel fearful. And instead of me going, oh no, I'm going to abandon you now because you're an ego and I shouldn't have ego because I'm all spiritual now, it's bullshit. What I need to do is actually hold on to Kevin and say, I'm not going to let you go. I'm going to hold you and I'm going to love you and I'm going to take care of you. So that way, all of the goodness that you are, all of the bravery that you've had along this journey when I wasn't able to get through and then you had to step in, that's the part that I'm going to carry forward with me now. So,
Stella gets to swear at people when we're driving. So it's nice to have Stella around.
yes.
Because then I can like go, okay, Stella, calm it back down. Because there are situations where you just need to be
Swearing?
swearing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I don't think it makes you less spiritual because you swear. I think I mean, there's energy attached to everything, including the language that you use, right? So when you need lots of passion, swearing sometimes is the best way. I know there are people who can live their life without swearing, but I wonder how truthful they're being.
And that's a judgment.
I know. I know.
Okay. Because there's some people who just don't need to swear. For my grandmother, flabbergasted was a swear word.
Oh my goodness.
That was her swear word.
Right?
I've chosen a more distinct F word.
You have.
So it is what it is. And again, it goes back to this whatever's ideal for each individual person is really what you got to focus on.
Exactly. Exactly. And I mean, let's just be kinder to everybody.
Right?
I know. It's hard to be kind to some people some days, though. And I try to, if I can't be, I just like sort of try to be away from them. Right? Because sometimes you just can't be kind to everybody. I just think that sometimes it's hard to see their purpose. And I know that eventually I might be able to see it. But in that moment, sometimes it's better for me to just step back from it and not. And not.
Fair enough.
Right?
Yep.
Because wouldn't we like to swing at a few people once in a while?
Yes.
I have never hit anyone in my life, not even my brothers. Well, maybe my brothers when I was little. I can't control that. I was a child.
I have swung at people.
Have you?
I have, yes. Yes.
I'll make a note of that.
Yes.
Exactly.
High school. I was still a kid, but yeah, high school.
Look at you.
Oh, yeah.
My bodyguard?
No, I fight so horribly. I'm like the type of person, if a fist comes at me, I'm like, ah! I'm not much of a fighter, but I have had fighting energies come out of me for sure.
That's great. That's great. It's
Yeah.
another part of who you are.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking 2 days ago about the different parts of our personality and questioning, you know, whether or not we would be judged for having identified different parts of our personality. And then the question was like, why are we putting labels on ourselves?
Well, and so to give like a backstory for all of that, um, I had been in a position where I had to cut someone off of a Facebook page, and just based on things that they had talked about, whatever. And the people pleaser in me was like, oh, but maybe I'll give them another chance to not say something so rude on my page. And I was talking to Janice about it, and Janice said to me, okay, little Judy, it's time for you to stop worrying about people pleasing people and just cut this person out of your life. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, little Judy, that's my people pleaser. Because now I've got Kevin the ego and I've got little Judy the people pleaser. And when I spoke back to Janice, I was actually like talking with this Texan kind of accent, Southern drawl, whatever. And then I was like, shoot, maybe I'm schizophrenic because now I've got this people pleaser Judy, and I've got Kevin, the fearful abandoned one. And Janice, I guess, at the same time that I was messaging her back, she realized that it was Noreen who had to point out that Catherine was people pleasing with Judy. And you called that one Noreen.
Noreen.
So then we were both questioning at the same time, are we schizophrenic now?
Like, what's with the multiple personalities? But then it's just one.
It's just one, because what I ended up saying afterwards was, if I have a hurt arm and I'm aware now that my arm is hurt, it doesn't mean that my whole body has become an arm. It just simply means that I'm aware that I have an arm that is hurt. And so when we've got these different kind of aspects of ourselves that are being shown to us, whether it's the people pleaser or the one who has to point things out, or the one who's fearful and abandoned, or the one who just wants to be included, or whatever the case might be based on what your experiences have been, that all of them are a part of who you are. They make up who you are, but they all also deserve to be recognized for what they are and where they've come from and why they exist in the first place.
So we have to stop judging ourselves.
Yes.
For that, and I said to her, like, we don't need to put labels on ourselves because we've been able to identify different parts of our personality and be able to recognize that, oh, that's a part of me that will respond when I'm feeling threatened, or when I'm feeling sad, or when I'm feeling like I maybe have not been as kind as I should be, or maybe I'm pissed off at the way somebody's driving. I mean, it's just a part of who you are. And we're now at a place where we can easily identify those different parts of our thought process. So why not just be exactly who we are?
Exactly.
And I just realized that I'm off camera with the hand that's doing all the talking, which was good.
And I've got both my hands here, so.
Because I am one that talks a lot with my hands, so I like that my active hand is over here.
No worries, Gabby. Welcome.
Yes, we're happy to have you. Hello, Wendy. There's always questions, though. Like, I want to kind of go back to how do I pick who I need to see, or what way I should go, and we talked about how we should just listen to what we hear, but maybe people don't really understand, like, what's the difference between a psychic and a medium, and what's an energy worker, and what's Reiki versus access bars or reflexology. So, maybe sometimes we need to be a little more explanatory. Explanatory? Is that a word?
Yeah.
Okay. It just sort of didn't roll very easily. About some of these different modalities, and does it make sense that we should be telling people, a little more stuff? So
that works. Sorry.
I know I don't use the touchpad very often. That's why I always bring the mouse.
Fair enough. Sorry for interrupting there.
That's okay. So, what I say is, like, if you're not unsure of what you need, then by all means be asking the questions. Ask for some explanation as to what the different modalities mean. People ask me if I do tarot, and I say I have cards. I don't do traditional tarot, but I can read with cards. But it's in a very different way. I think that you're able to do spreads easily, and I would be like looking up in the book, how do I do this spread? And I just do it different.
Yeah.
So tarot is I mean, even explaining the difference between tarot and oracle cards and um, and things as simple as that.
Yeah. If anyone wants to know, this is my explanation of tarot versus oracle cards.
Sure.
Oracle cards is kind of like a high school course that gives you a brief overview, where tarot is like taking the university course that takes you right down into it. That's how I look at it.
Okay.
Okay.
When I explain it as oracle sort of as a brief, what do I need to know in the moment? Uh, Maybe you're asking a question specifically about what I'm doing today. And for me, tarot is more like a long-term forecast.
Mm.
What is potentially coming ahead. So that's for me.
Yep.
That's how I explain the difference.
Yep.
And we're not suggesting that college and university one is better than the other. Just saying that.
No, high school and university.
High school. Okay.
Yes, high school courses. So like when I was in high school, I took a psychology course.
Right.
And it kind of gives you this overview of what psychology would look like. And then after high school, I took some more in-depth psychology courses, which really take you into the nitty-gritty. And so with Oracle, they're kind of giving you that overview. This is the energies that you're in right now.
Right.
With tarot, they're like, and this is how we're going to get you through it. This is what you're dealing with. These are what your fears are. This is the obstacles that you're facing. These are the people that are going to support you, and these are the people that are going to block the shit out of this.
Right.
And tarot tells it more so like it is, where oracle is a little bit more
gentler.
Yeah.
It's kind of like our approaches. Catherine is the nice one, and I'm the blunt one. Just saying. So,
I'm pretty blunt too, though.
But when somebody said to me, "Is Catherine coming today? She's so nice," and I'm like, "Catherine's off doing her own thing today." I said, "You just have me," and she's like, "Okay."
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm not sorry.
You're not sorry. It's okay. You don't have to be sorry. But it's true. I mean, I think it's my personality.
So you're the tarot and I'm the oracle.
There you go. There you go.
That's how you tell the difference between a tarot and an oracle card.
Exactly. Or Miss Oracle here, tarot. I'm going to tell it like it is. I don't know. I mean, I try to be softer and kinder, but sometimes you just gotta say the words, because I don't know. How do you make it softer?
You say with love and light.
Oh, I say this with. Oh, see, that's what I'm missing.
I say this with love, but you got to leave the asshole.
And I say things like, are you gonna shit or get off the pot? And you would say, I say this with love, like shit or get off the pot. Okay, I got it now. I'm gonna start being the nice one.
It's so funny, but that's literally what I say when I know it's something that's a little bit harsher for people. I say it with love, because it's never with the intention to hurt somebody.
No, and I don't intend.
And I don't think that you even need to say to someone, I'm saying this with love, in order for them to not be hurt by it. But some people might be. And sometimes it's a little bit harsher. I know I once had a woman who looked at me in the middle of a reading and said, "You are a bitch." And I said, "I'm just calling you out on your BS. When are you going to stop with the excuses?" And she went, "You're a bitch." And I said, "I'm sorry." She goes, "No, I'm actually kind of liking this right now." And I was like, "Okay then." And we'll just continue on.
And I mean, I try to approach things without, putting an interpretation on them. And sometimes by just giving people what I'm getting, I guess maybe sometimes it feels blunt. But that's me trying not to interpret what I'm being shown.
Fair enough.
And this won't identify anyone, but when I was doing a reading in the last few days, I'm talking away and I'm connected to a father, and I'm like, and I'm supposed to say, "Remember when you stopped eating pork?" was just such a random thing. But she remembered that when she was a teenager, she stopped eating pork, could not eat a pork chop. So the fact that her father was, it was just a validation for her. But
Absolutely.
it was kind of like, I don't know why I need to say this to you, but like, remember when you stopped eating pork? And it was, yeah, it was bizarre. And but it was very much for her confirmation.
Absolutely.
So
And I think people need something like that more so than a wishy-washy kind of message that, yeah, remember when you stopped eating
yeah,
pork?
yeah,
Point blank. That's all you need to hear.
yeah. You don't have to need to hear, oh, your dad's always around you and loving and supporting you because you know that. And I can say that, and like, there's nothing that I've said that proves it to you until they give you something amazing like that to say.
Yeah.
Yes, I like that a lot. So, does anybody have any questions about anything we've been talking about? Because we've been kind of rambling now.
Yeah, I feel like we've totally gone off our topic, but that's okay because apparently we needed to say this, otherwise we wouldn't have said it.
Right?
Yeah.
Apparently so. And what do we got here? What's the difference between past life regression and Ohana? I guess that's your question.
Okay, so Courtney, sorry, we didn't see any of these comments coming up. So, past life regression is taking you into a previous lifetime. Typically, the hypnotist will be relaxing your body, mind, etc., and you would access that information from a previous lifetime that you've had on Earth. Whereas with the Ohana generational healing, we're actually looking at what the patterns have been within the family unit, whether those have been experienced by yourself or with someone in your family, generations prior to you or generations that are around you now. We access what those patterns are, and then you get on the table, and it's an energy treatment where we're working back 15 generations to release what that energetic memory is in the cellular body. So, some similarities with the past life regression is we're going into the past. Okay. Can you heal past lives with Ohana generational healing? To me, I don't look at the past lives with the Ohana generational healing. I look at what the family has experienced. Problem is sometimes that might actually connect with a past life memory that you have. One
true.
thing that I was always afraid of as a child was dying in a house fire. And when I did my first past life regression, I witnessed myself dying in a house fire. And I was like, oh, that must be why. Then I started doing Ohana generational healing and found out that my great 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 grandmother died in a house fire. So I went, oh, is it a past life? Or is it a generational memory? Or is it a combination of both? Was I my great 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 grandmother? I have no idea. So I was
Right.
still able to heal that aspect of myself though. So
It gets pretty tricky some days.
Yeah.
To know who you are and what you're doing and what just happened.
exactly.
And well, I mean, I shared something that came up in a meditation yesterday, and I wasn't sure where it was coming into play, but you said it could be a past life. But then, but interestingly, you had read about the same thing 3 days ago
Yes. Yes, about the church.
about the church.
Yes.
And so it's interesting to sort of do some investigation almost
Absolutely.
to try to figure out what the hell did that mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the church, it was so clear, and the details that I had that matched up with what you had read, it was like, whoa,
Yeah.
that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing is as I was reading it, I was like, why am I even reading this right now? Like, because it was all about what door you go into in the church in order, and it stuck in my mind because I was like, as if walking into a different door of a church is going to either A, forgive your sins, or B, not forgive your sins. And then Janice had this in her meditation where she had to walk through a specific door.
Yes, and it
So-
wasn't about like this door in particular, but it was like the door on the west side of the church versus the door on the east side of the church, and that's exactly what she had read 3 days ago.
Yeah.
And I was going in the west side, and I couldn't find the entrance to the east side, so it was pretty cool. Amanda, that's great that you're starting to get some closure around your puppy. I know that you really suffer with the memories of him, but I mean, just keep him in your heart and keep healthy thoughts, and it's a process you need to go through. You know, it's a big loss and means you loved him, and that's always nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Gabby, your question with Ohana generational healing, can you heal current lives? So if I go through it, does it affect myself and my children? Yes. So your children would be the first generation, or if you have grandchildren, your grandchildren, whatever the youngest generation is that's on earth right now, they would be the first generation, and then we go back 15 generations. So it can heal current life stuff, and it can heal the generational traumas that are passed on as well.
It's very cool.
Yeah, I
It's
think
very
so.
cool. So, hi Tammy, hi Shirley. Um, is and are you've got some classes coming up? Oh, you're teaching more teachers in February. Well, that was yesterday.
That was yesterday.
Oh,
That's
sorry.
past.
Okay.
Yes, so I have an Ohana Generational Healing Level 1 class happening next Saturday in Tilsonburg. And that's at the Indigo Lounge and Wellness Center, and they have the most amazing taco salad. So that class runs from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. And I will be doing another one in Kitchener on March 21st at Journey Healers here. That's also 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. So there is training available for anyone who might want to look into that and use that as a modality. Or you can go to the Ohana Generation. I'm sorry, I'm totally plugging right now. You can go to the Ohana Generational Healing website, www.ohanagenerationalhealing.com, and you can find a practitioner that's local to you that would be willing to work with you to help you heal your own family traumas.
There's all kinds of them now.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
Almost 100. So that's
There
really
you go.
exciting. Yeah.
Yes, it is. So, well, let's talk about some of the things that we have coming up for Firefly Mediums.
Sounds good.
So, the next thing on the agenda is the Mystic Night Market.
Yes, that's happening February 28th.
That's at the Guelph Legion from 6 until 11 p.m.
We will both be there doing readings back and forth.
And we'll be there to chat with and talk about some of the other things that are coming up for us.
Yes, and we will have tickets available for what those other events are,
yes,
which we're going to talk about now.
Yes. So on April 5th.
April 5th from 4 till 7.
From 4 to 7, we're going to be at Breezy Corners, and we'll be doing a spirit supper. And that is a fundraiser, supports 3 initiatives in Guelph. The Buy a Breakfast program at Breezy Corners,
which purchases breakfast for those who are living on the streets.
Yeah, so you prepay for a breakfast is basically what it is. And so what we did last time and what we're doing this time is for every ticket that's bought, we are giving 1 breakfast. So we'll be paying them for those. And then we're also going to support the North End Harvest Market, which provides fresh fruits and vegetables and bread, Cobb's bread, every Wednesday out of the portable up at Waverly Drive School. There's no need to have proof of income. You have to provide a name and address and a phone number. I mean, that's for just safety issues, really. I think that, in case something happens while you're on the property, that they have a way to get in touch with somebody for you. And you're able to come every second week and get fresh fruits and vegetables and bread for no cost. And they're always looking for corporate sponsors. They have an Adopt a Week program, which is because it costs $600 a week to provide this produce. So they rely completely on fundraising. So there's the Adopt a Week program. So we'll be supporting that. And then we also support the Bench, which is run by Ed Pickersgill, and it's 7 days a week from 1:45 till 3 o'clock. He's literally on a bench in downtown Guelph. He comes with buckets of stuff like socks and water and chewer and sometimes granola bars and sometimes personal hygiene products, and sometimes people come with sandwiches and donate sandwiches, and there's often oranges and bananas and stuff that people can take, and so that they have something in their pocket to have later as well. So that's always good. And So we'll be supporting that as well. And so we're going to have tickets available at the Mystic Market if you wanted to buy them. Those are $40 a piece. And we're supporting 3 charities.
They're also available on our website at www.fireflymediums.com under Buy Tickets.
Yes, and you can e-transfer as well at fireflymediums@gmail.com. All of that. There is an event set up on the Firefly page, so if you wanted to see that, it's available there.
Yeah. We also have the All About Women's event happening on May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down at the International Center in Mississauga. We'll both be there with our lovely princess helper, Sharon.
Yes.
And we will be doing readings all day.
Yep.
All day, every day, back to back.
Yeah.
So be sure to book in with us there. We will probably have tickets available for that soon that we can actually just give out to you guys. I think they give us like 12 to 14 each.
Yeah. Watch the page. We'll post when we have them available.
Yeah, and it's usually it's a really good time. There's lots of great vendors there, lots of really awesome products,
and they usually have like performers on the stage. Last year they had male dancers. And JD, who was a really cool singer, was was playing. He's been there 2 years that we've been there. I don't know if he's going to be there this year or not.
I don't know.
And then in June we've got the Spirit Cruise.
Yes.
On the boat again, man. That was so much fun, and it sold out, and so those tickets are already selling. And
yes,
if you're looking for a Valentine's gift, that would be
Mother's Day present.
Yeah.
Or even an early Father's Day present. It would work for that as well.
Absolutely.
Also in June, we have a afternoon of fundraising with Firefly Mediums, and that's happening in Hamilton.
That's true.
You can find the event on our Firefly page, and we're helping a woman named Lisa to purchase a mobility chair. She's been working on fundraising for this chair for herself for quite a few years now, and it's just whatever effort we can do to help her reach what her goal is. And
big news.
Oh, I forgot my heart.
You forgot your heart. We have a new retreat in the works. We're calling it Heart Speak. It is in 2021. So save this date. It's April 30th, May 1st and 2nd. And it's up in Grand Bend, and we're going to give you more details in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
We'll be posting about it. We're so excited. We are so excited.
And there's going to be different options for all different price points that people will be able to attend.
Beautiful. It's at a beautiful location.
Yes.
Luxurious and
the menu is divine if you're into food at all.
Yeah, it's gonna be like more food. You're giving us more food, kind of weekend. It's just going to be so absolutely incredible, yes. And it is open to everyone.
Men, women, children,
teenagers.
Yes.
I don't know that a child will be able to hang in there for the entire thing.
They might.
They might. And I don't know if the golf course is open in May, but I mean, if you and your spouse wanted to come and one of them just wants to golf, you just you could just pay the for one person at the retreat, and anyways, we'll have all that information. And the other person just wants to go hang around and play golf. It's like a 1-minute walk down a private road to watch the sunset on Lake Huron. And it's going to be special.
Yes, it is.
And we really want people to be aware that this isn't a women's retreat. This is a if you're ready to, and our hashtag is press pause on the chaos. And it's really about taking some time to really get real with who you are. Right? Yeah, we're so excited. Can you tell? So watch for details. And we should be opening up registration because there's going to be early bird registration. Yeah. With a better price point. And if you came to a previous retreat, you send us a message. We're going to talk to you about a special discount price for you. because we want to acknowledge the people who have been supporting us. So yeah, that's coming up in 2021.
2021.
I
Crazy.
know, I know.
Crazy, crazy.
So thanks everybody for the support. It's been so humbling, the number of people who support us. Um, and we've got these fundraisers coming up, but we're always open to more. If you have something that you would like us to be part of, by all means, send us a message. We can talk. We're
Yeah.
open to traveling. We're going up to Huntsville in July for one, Hamilton in June, um, Guelph, Kitchener, Cambridge, all of those areas. But I mean, we're open to,
Yeah.
to travel, so you just message us. So with that being said, let's check to make sure there's. Well, thanks, Tammy. You're cute too. Um, we're gonna let you go. Enjoy your
Sunday. We're Sunday, my dear.
Sunday dinner. Um, I know some days just run together for me. It's all good. It's all good. Um, thanks everyone, and
Thank you.
we'll I'm sure we'll do another one soon because we really like doing them. Um, and if you want to catch Catherine on Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock for her in the spotlight, she's been 2 weeks. This is number 3,
This will be week number 3, yes.
and it's just been great. And she's doing all these really cool, interesting people on her show. So
Yes, it's basically just interviewing different people in the community or around the world who are making an impact and talking to them about what they're doing. So you can jump on and ask questions, kind of like this. So it's happening every Tuesday night on the Journey Healers page at 8 o'clock
perfect.
Eastern time. Yes.
So that being said, we're gonna let you go.
Yep.
Thanks for being with us, and we'll let you know when the next one is. Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.